Hey everyone, it is diaperperv.
I'm Baby Donny here.
And we're going to talk about some of the top mistakes people make in ABDL. So the first one, I see this a lot. Number one, not going to events because you don't think there's any or enough women going to them. And here's the reality, you don't know who's going to be there.
True.
Why would you even think, assume that there will be a lot of or none of one group of people, because that is not reality until you've gone to, say, every single event in the entire world.
I will say that's probably a straight person problem too.
Yes.
Or,
oh my goodness, yes.
Or a lesbian problem. I was like, oh, more boys the merrier sometimes.
Exactly.
But I get it. I do like women too. They're very attractive and very pretty. And so I enjoy hanging around them as well, especially when they're littles. It's great to see. I think for my own personal experience of having friends that are little girls, they have kind of, well, as in all women in general, you have to deal with a lot of men that are just idiots sometimes. But I'm sure there are boys out there that don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. And some of these adult baby girls may not feel as safe in certain areas. At least that's the only thing I could think.
I don't see that. And I'm someone who goes to, I guess, a lot of local events. Mm-hmm. And most of the events that are put on by women. At least that's what I see in my city. And even the bigger cons.
True. There's a lot of women helping out.
Yeah, or in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Because women love organizing crap.
I thought you were going to say women love being in charge.
Oh, no. No, they just like organizing events, and they like parties, and they like details, and they like planning
and dressing up.
Things, and dressing up. But the point is that you can't assume that there is not going to be a lot of women.
Yeah, true.
Especially if you're basing it off FetLife on the who's going thing.
True.
That is not a good indication, because
sometimes I won't even put it that I'm even going to something.
Exactly, me too. I'll just show up.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the people who have been going for a while, they'll just go. They're not gonna put it on online, or they forget to, but they know when the events are, or they're in their own private Discord or Telegram group. I mean, you've been to the munches here in Vegas when I was organizing them, and there would be a ton of people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a lot of the times, to add to that a little bit, is saying that we all live busy lives, and sometimes you don't think you're going to be able to go.
Yeah.
And last minute something happens, and your day clears up, and you're like, I'm going.
Exactly.
And then you have a great time. So yeah, you may not know who you're going to find at these locations, and there are plenty of times where there were a good amount of women, females at some of these events. So just go and try it out. And if you don't have a good time and you don't meet the right people, then you don't have to go back again.
But the thing is, every month, it's going to be different people. Mm-hmm. Right? You've seen it. Some munches have a bigger turnout than others.
True.
And, one month might have a ton of people, but the same people may be busy the next month. So you have to go consistently. Which brings me to number 2. Another huge mistake I see is not going to events at all. Period.
Just being screw it, I'm not doing it.
And I think the main reason that they don't go, because I talk to a lot of people, is they're really scared of privacy issues, privacy concerns. Okay. So in reality, everybody has those concerns. Nobody is going to be at an event, private or public, where they're I'm going to take secret pictures of everybody and then try and blackmail them. No one has done that. You're probably going to get blackmailed if you talk to strangers online.
You're willing to fork up the money to go to some of these events and take the time to fly out there and get a hotel room. You're more committed. You have skin in the game,
Yes, and then when you're talking about flying out there, now you're talking about a bigger event where they have safety protocols, where people have to put stickers on their phone cameras, or else you'll get kicked out. If you're not going, period, you might miss out on some really cool friendships. Or just really good experiences of having fun and seeing that you're not alone.
Yeah, and I think like you're saying, going to some of the local events, I think is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily local as in like your city if you're too afraid of, like, say you're a doctor and like
Right.
you're on billboards and shit like that. Yeah, maybe I'd go to like the next few towns over or something, you know.
Hey, aren't
Like,
you that guy in the billboard
I
that's
know,
everywhere?
Right, yeah.
Like-
And it's like, no, I mean, come down and buy a mattress. The local events are a little bit better because you're able to find people that you can play with possibly on a consistent basis if you jive enough with somebody. And two, I don't think it's going to be as much like noticeable, I guess. Like people aren't really going to, I don't know, I think really care, if that makes sense.
No, they're not, because in a general kink rule is that if you see those people out in vanilla places, you're not just gonna yell, "Hey, weren't you at that
Are you in a
adult
diaper?"
baby?"
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all have those concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boom. I'm just diaper checking you visually.
Number 3.
Yes.
Missing the red flags in dynamics in relationships. So I was thinking about different things of like, I want, like we're saying, like you want something so bad, like I want a mommy so bad, and then you find a woman that is really okay with the diaper thing. They'll change you and be mommy, but they're not respecting your opinions on things. They're either verbally abusing you, mentally abusing you, gaslighting you in some sort of way, and not being a good partner. I think is a pitfall that we could all kind of fall into. It doesn't matter a man or a woman, because you're so blinded by the want and desire of living this adult baby life, and you're willing to forego on the red flags.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes. So don't settle. Don't settle if you're uncomfortable, if you're in a dynamic where you don't feel respected and that they actually care for you. I see that enough in life. Period.
Right. Even outside of the adult baby community.
Yeah, just people settling in general. Like, well, this person has been with me this whole time and it's not great, but whatever.
Right. But I have security, or like, you know, I'm able to not have to live paycheck to paycheck. And I mean, those are real concerns.
Yeah,
real valid points too to make. So I can understand how it would be difficult to get out of those relationships. They're just unhealthy relationships. I think that, you know, if you're really wanting to love yourself, you need to kind of take a step back and say, like, is this really best for me and my mental health? Ooh, number 4 is trying hard to push ABDL on others. I was talking to diaperperv about this, about how being in a space where maybe it's a kink space, maybe it's a public space, but being in a space to where there are other people around that are not engaging in the role play of an adult baby role play with you, and say like your toy, you know, rolls over to a group of people, and you go to that group of people and you're like, give me my toy, and like kind of like baiting them into the play.
Yeah.
And they didn't consent to it. They didn't say that they wanted to babysit you or like, you know, play baby with you. So it's better to just like, hey, do you mind if I get that from you guys real quick? Thanks, appreciate it. Okay, and then go suck on your thumb over there, right? And
right.
Like, and engage with people that are wanting to.
Yes. And to me, that gives them a good impression of you. Like, oh, there's a little over there. I don't know much about littles, but he came over and was respectful and wasn't pushy. So maybe I will talk to them and try to learn more about it.
Just put a good spin on things. So yeah, that was one of them that I had seen before that could possibly screw things up.
Right, yeah. And also online too. Like when you're in spaces online and you immediately go into like a role play and acting like so and so should be your daddy or your mommy, and it's
aren't
like,
you gonna check my diaper right now? And it's like, whoa, hold on a second. Yeah, no, that's a very real concern. And people will start out like conversations, instead of being like, hey, I'm Brad, nice to meet you. They'll just be like, I went poopy in my diaper. And it's like, okay, good. Like,
good.
Could introduce yourself first. Say, I'm, you know, Gary from Hawaii or something, you know.
And I also poop myself in my diaper.
Yeah, then at least I'm like, okay, at least I know your name.
Which actually ties into number 5. confusing fantasy versus reality.
That's a good one too.
It is, because a lot of times before you go to like a real life event, all you have so far in your head about this lifestyle or this fetish is what you read online, is like ABDL porn.
Right.
Yeah, all the stories, all the other people's fantasies, your own fantasies of how you think it's gonna be. Like, wow, I'm gonna meet my daddy and he's gonna know magically exactly what I want and do all the things I want and put me in that space. Where in reality, if you go to an event, it's just gonna be a bunch of people talking like you and I right now and trying to get to know each other. There isn't gonna like just be people diving into the fantasy play.
And they may not be drop dead gorgeous either.
Oh, what?
Because average
not
people,
everybody is drop dead gorgeous.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah. So you have those expectations of seeing people in porn too. You're like,
right?
These girls who have like, perky tits, like big butt, like very voluptuous or whatever your type is.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're like, no, they're real people that like, that was, Tina that works over at,
the grocery store.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, she could be a little thick, but still, like the genuineness and, say it again, the sincerity of some of these people, really shines through. And I personally would rather be with someone that is a good person and they could be maybe not a 10, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like some girls and guys that are 10s and they're like idiots. I'm like, ew. Like, you're ugly.
And also, everybody has such a different type of what they're attracted to.
Very
so
true.
my
Very
10
true.
is not going to be
My
someone
10.
else's 10.
Right.
Yeah. Like, we could talk about that, because your taste in guys is different than my taste in guys. Like, I like redheads.
What? You're weird.
Why is that weird?
I just haven't heard anybody say that. I think most people are like, I don't like
No,
redheads.
you know who else? Casey from ABU likes redheads too.
Really?
Yeah. I like kind of like
Fire crotches.
thin to like fit-ish redheads. And then also what I'm attracted to is brunettes that look like comedian Michael Blaustein.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Just very normal looking, everyday brunette guy that's not fit. I like that.
Like I've told you, I like the daddies that are like, I like older guys.
Yeah.
And at least 10 years older than me. And I like them kind of have like a beer belly a little bit, but still like muscular. But like, I don't necessarily want them to have a six pack. I want them to kind of be like thicker daddy, kind of like it's taller than, well, I'm 5'6", so I'm short. But like, they can hold me down, have some weight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes
More
sense.
like a bear.
Yeah.
Like hairier.
So there's going to be realistic people, and you probably aren't a 10. Whoever's watching, I'm
Silly.
sorry. Like in real life, I'm not a 10.
But we're somebody's 10.
Yes. But our personalities can make us somebody's 10. When real kink, you're going to talk about what you're into. Negotiations, safe words, limits, hard limits, soft limits, and it's going to be, not hot. Well, because
Right. Because it is kind of hot. I like setting things up
Yeah.
because like you find out like what they're into, and then your mind starts going, and you're like, ooh, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this, and then that's how especially being a little, I could like, okay, I know like where I'm going with this. Then like our dynamic that we're gonna play out.
Number 6 is
Believing you can only be one thing. It's
Yeah.
stagnant in that sort of dynamic. Either you're just a little, or you're just a big, or you're just a switch.
a toddler.
Or exactly.
Even age limits.
True.
You know what I mean? Because you don't really know until you experience it, say with another person. Because maybe you're like, oh, I only want to be a middle who needs diapers. But when you're in the moment, you might go littler and enjoy it. So don't pigeonhole yourself into one role only.
Right. I think it's healthy to have an open like goal list of like, okay, this is something I want to do, but then like it could change, and just be fluid with your dynamic of who you are, because it's like you said, we miss out on certain things. So it's like, it's better to be like, okay, I'll try it, and see if you like it, and don't have to necessarily stick with that all the time. Like I was talking before to you earlier about like switching to the daddy role for me. It's like, I could do it, and I kind of, I'm enjoying it. I'm not necessarily my first thing I'm going to drop to say I want to do.
Yeah.
But I can totally play that role, and it's very fun for me to like
Good.
see reactions and like
Yes.
get little like moans and whimpers from these littles where I'm like, ooh, I'm doing a good job.
Yes, and that's what I'm into. See, now you know what I enjoy about it is that control of like, hey, I get to control their enjoyment or their punishment or whatever.
Yeah, punishment.
Number 7. This is the last one, by the way. Finding a caregiver isn't the end goal.
True. And it's kind of like even saying what we're doing right now is like goals change.
Yeah.
Things change, your personality will change. And yeah, it's probably not the best thing to say like, oh, once I get a mommy, that's going to be it. I'm going to be set. And it's like, that's not going to fix everything.
No, because that mommy might be like number 3 where
Red flags.
you're not red flags where they're doing all this stuff, but it's not a good relationship and you don't get along in other ways. That goes back to settling. So maybe make a lot of little goals, try and get more active on Twitter, get active on FetLife. I don't know, maybe go to one event.
Yeah, and then you start to develop those relationships with maybe not be a mommy or daddy, but it's like other littles that you could just chill out with and be like, hey, like we both like the same things, so we could both be in diapers, but hey, let's go get some food, like we're big foodies or something. And it's like, let's try out this new restaurant,
Yeah.
It's like having those friendships, it's, healthy for you too, not just to be like, okay, I just want to be a baby to mommy and daddy and that's it. And that's, so goals like that can change as well, of like not necessarily like relationship goals, but, friendship goals.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people that are in this lifestyle, they find lifelong friends. Like drama might happen, or maybe you'll get out of touch, maybe you'll have families and so forth, but you still have this like deep connection with, other people.
Yeah, they're all our brothers and sisters, really. Like we're all in the same kind of situation here, and it's just nice to have that camaraderie where you can, explain things of like, certain friends I can't talk about adult baby stuff with.
Yeah.
Certain friends I'm like, I gotta keep it big boy. But it's nice to have the friends where I could be like, oh my gosh, you tried these diapers? They were horrible, or like the tapes would stick too much and like it'd rip off the plastic, or they weren't, So it's nice to be able to get other people's opinions on some of these things, or just be involved in that sort of way. It's this really fun experience to have. So
yeah, just have a good group that you can like trust and talk to about anything. I just feel like when you say like our brothers and sisters, right? That's the way it should be. It should be pretty much not us against them, but we have something in common and we should band together instead of having so much
separation,
splitness, so much drama within the greater group. I'm not using the community word.
Well, I think that's kind of with a lot of things too, or a lot of different communities or grouping of people, is they do like to switch things up. And we see with like politics too, of like, Republican, Democrat, where you're tribal, and you don't realize like, look, until you like go overseas or something like that, and you're like, we're all American here. Like, you may not agree with your values on political issues, but you're still American. I could talk to you about going to In-N-Out Burger, or like going to, wherever, Six Flags or Disneyland, and someone has that, oh yeah, I love that, oh my gosh, because they're from America and they can relate. So those are those differences that I think that we should focus on that keep us together. I guess they're not differences, they're similarities.
Yeah. I think we should work harder on finding common ground. And I think we found so much common ground at this point that that's how the factions start splitting up, because
I'm different
there
in this
is
way.
Yes, because there is such a community. But back in the 80s and 90s, there were so few of us because there wasn't social media.
Right.
So it was much harder to like get in touch with other people like yourself, that I feel like people banded together back then. Like it was part of a secret group. And now the secret group has become so big that everyone's got to split up and be special and want to get power and that BS.
Yeah, it's politics, I think.
It is politics. It really is.
But that's, you know, it's, the outfits are just so amazing. That's why I'm around.
Please, can we focus on the amazing outfits
Yeah.
and the people designing them, but also the diapers?
Yes, that's the main focal point. That, I mean, it's such an intimate thing too that we're all connected by. So it's like, come on, let's be nice.
Yes, it is a very intimate thing. I realize I should have been holding a diaper this whole time. I'm like missing holding something in my hands. I think we covered a lot of great topics.
Yeah.
And I hope this helps you in your journey and making goals for yourself and getting yourself out there and doing the things you want.
Yeah, and watching out just for yourself too, making sure you love yourself and love yourself enough to make sure you don't settle and you get what you need.
Yeah. Okay,
Bye.
bye.